Guess what? I'm starting a business.
Business from scratch.
Hi, I'm Ben, and like I said, I'm starting a business from scratch, just my own thing, and I wanted to make this video series that I'll be posting on YouTube to help anyone else who's planning on starting their own business. Like from start to finish, I'm just going to go through all the steps that I'm going through so that anyone else can have as much information as they want. So the first thing that anyone needs if they want to start their own business is an idea. Without that, you don't have a product, you don't have a business model, you really need an idea. Because otherwise, how are you going to make money? You can't just start a business and then run around and do nothing. So what's my idea? My idea came from a problem that I noticed, which is cinnamon rolls just generally aren't great. They're always too dense, they're too dry, sometimes they're too tall, like it's like trying to eat a burger, except they're a lot harder to squish down, so then you end up like,
oh.
And another problem with them being too tall is like usually they have like some frosting or some glaze, which is usually the best part, but then you eat the top and then you eat the bottom. But the problem is that bottom bite is always way worse than the top bite because there's no more frosting. But that's where my thing comes in. My product, my take on cinnamon rolls. Imagine, those Pillsbury biscuits that have the ton of layers and each layer is nice and light and fluffy. Imagine that, but better. Right? A bit more buttery, a bit more moist, airy. I make a brown butter glaze that goes on top. That's where the idea came from, is cinnamon rolls are bad, so what if I made a better cinnamon roll and then shared it with people? Cool, if you're following along, maybe doing your own thing as well, you have the idea, now what? And this is where it gets tricky because you can really just go anywhere. I started with trying to figure out a name for a business. I figured that's the next best thing. A lot of the registration you're going to have to do online, and with the government requires you having a name already set. So that's where I decided to go next. And this was way harder than I thought it was, because you have to keep in mind of other businesses may have the name. So I did every time I had a name idea, I did a Google search. There's also something you keep in mind is the trademark search.
Alright, I'm gonna come up with the name for my business. Just gotta make sure it's not taken. Let's see, pull up the system and let's see, what do I want to call? Oh, I know. Crap! Oh.
Because you don't want to pick a name that's been trademarked, because then they can send you a cease and desist letter. And you have to change the whole name, which, depending on how far along you are in the process, could mean a ton of paperwork. Let's try to avoid that, alright? And I'm also just terrible at coming up with names. So I started thinking about it. The first idea that came to my mind was Cinnabon. Kind of like Cinnabon, but, more egotistical for me, I guess. And you know what? It wasn't taken. The problem is, as I was doing my research, I found out that, especially with trademark names, you cannot pick a name that is phonetically similar, especially when it's spelled very similar to a trademark name. So Cinnabon, trademarked. Cinnabon sounds very close, very easy for customers to get them confused. and especially when the only difference is that O and that E. So unfortunately, as much as I liked Cinnabon, that was immediately off the table. I started messing around with other ideas. I tried doing like puns with either baking or my name, Ben. I tried doing like weird, quirky names like Don't Tell My Diet or something like that. I ended up not liking a ton of these. Like I was just brainstorming. The best way to brainstorm, just throw anything you got at the wall. But then eventually I thought of an idea that, like, as soon as I came up with it, like, I tried coming up with more, but like nothing was better than this. And that it's a long story, but the name I ended up going with is Butter Ben, which was a college nickname. Long story short, I use way too much butter when making mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving. Just a little bit of extra butter every few minutes or so, just a little bit more butter. So I became Butter Ben in college, and it kind of fits actually because, like, sure, I'm making cinnamon rolls, but you use a lot of butter in baking. But my cinnamon rolls use way more butter than anyone would expect. Just to put it in perspective, this is how much butter I need to buy whenever I want to make a new batch. Now, I don't use all of this, but I do use about 75% of it. So a lot of butter, and the alliteration is just awesome. Like Butter Ben. If I ever have my own storefront, it's gonna have a logo. It's probably gonna say Butter Ben's Bakery. Alliteration. We got the idea. We got the name. We're going strong. I did mention about one day having my own storefront. That's the ultimate goal. However, especially for starting out as a small business, buying a storefront just flat out is not financially wise. So part of the idea is selling online. People order and either they come pick it up from me, or more likely what's going to happen is I'm going to deliver. That's probably going to be the easiest. People are probably going to be most likely to order knowing that someone is just going to bring it to their front door for them and they don't have to go anywhere. So that's part of the idea, is starting out small with deliveries. But then there's tons of areas near me that are opportunities to sell cinnamon rolls. There's farmers markets, there's different events that go on down at the convention center that's near me, so probably finding a way to have a stall or a little booth to sell cinnamon rolls. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I do want to talk about my logo though, so because I did that very early on. You don't need a logo when registering your business, but you do need it when you're setting up your social media website. So before you set those up, I would get a logo. I just got mine early because I do have a friend who's in graphic design. I worked with him and he came up with this, the Butter Bee. I absolutely love this logo. It's fantastic. It makes me excited to put it on a package, which I haven't gotten to yet, but once I do, I'll make sure to make a video on it. So that'll be great. Anyways, that is the end of this video. Expect more, video essay type content to come out. I am Butter Ben, and this is day 1. A lot more days to go, but that's the fun part.